Hey folks, it's Mike Reynolds with Billy Maine. I'm a writer, and I used to be a webmaster, but we have Mike for capable woman that handles that now. So I just do web stuff, and for the last few years since COVID struck, I've been doing Storytime because at the time it was just people were doing things to stay online and try and do things in my friend. Amber was doing a 420 Storytime poetry stuff, and an English major was like, well, I can do that. So I said, well, start writing about stuff and just write stuff. And I just really like the storytelling aspect of it. And it's about 420 now, and it's been a rough year for a number of reasons. We're kind of from Lewiston, Maine. Tomorrow is the 1 year anniversary of the shooting and the mass shooting that left 18 people dead, and 13 people injured at the just-in-time bowling alley and Spanky's, most places I visited multiple times in my life. To say the least, it's changed the entire way our community lives. Changed a lot. Maybe not as much as I thought it has. Maybe more than I want to admit. Definitely think it's definitely much more anxious around here. People seem a lot more like friends seem a lot more closer, but yet there's always some sort of like anxiety, like if something else is gonna happen and the next shoe's gonna drop. I'm not sure what that is. I'm trying my hardest to get past that. It's been a year of really doing a lot of soul searching to get there. And we've got a lot going on today with updates. It's been about a week, been a little bit over a week. So right now we've got quite a few things going on. The Maine Equal Justice Project, Maine Equal Justice Partners, unveiled their eviction prevention program, and so if you might missed it, the eviction prevention program (EPP) opened this week. It's a lifeline for Maine burdened Maine families, but we must build on it to ensure everyone has a safe, affordable place to live. It highlights a bad burden for you in recent years. We want to help hear from you in our 2024 community survey coming soon. This is Maine Equal Justice Partners. The idea for the eviction prevention program began as a response to the program Mainers developed well higher rents that led to increasing evictions and community lives are being turned upside down. Its launch this week is generating a lot of interest and hope. We also understand that with heavy hearts there are more families not facing imminent eviction that are spending more and more of their income just to stay housed. 2023 data shows that census data shows that nationally and in Maine, nearly half of renters spend more than 30% of their income on housing costs. Maine's elected leaders in state and federal government need to seek more solutions. Mainers realize that affordable homes open the door to a stronger workforce, driving schools, better health, and vibrant neighborhoods. Unfortunately, the cost of housing in Maine has gone up to $400,000 for over $400,000 for the regular Maine house in Maine is now over $400,000, and it's gone up 6% in the last 3 months. And 6% in New England and 3% in Maine. So me, Eagle Justice Partners, is doing the eviction prevention program. You can sign up with them at majp.org, majp.org. I will have a link to this at some point. I can't do that while I'm live, but I will do that right. Talk about it anyway. And other events, because Canada and assisted suicide is now legal in Maine, although hopefully at some point that could change. We got pipe dreams. But with Canada being so close to the Maine border, and with it having completely different laws, people, the Associated Press is scoring that Ontario's poorest and most deprived areas are being offered euthanasia or assisted medical aid in dying when they're in unmanageable pain instead of being offered, pain or palliative care. Additionally, that it's also taking some stances. California is being challenged by assisted suicide, and the Telegraph is reporting of a person being offered assisted suicide 3 times while recovering from breast cancer, which was really terminal. And this suicide is trying to sue the Knights, California Ninth Circuit Court to end its program. They think it's an egregious injustice that people with disabilities who have terminal illnesses are not being given the same end of life anti-assisted suicide care that people who would not have terminal illnesses are getting, which is basically why assisted suicide should not be legalized. So additionally, that's some stuff going on with Patient Rights Action Fund. Doesn't really affect me, but again, the fact that you can get euthanasia in Canada makes it easier for people just to go to Canada, set up residency, maybe they know somebody. It's kind of scary when you think about it. Additionally, this came up a couple of weeks ago, happened again, and it's kind of funny when I think about it all those times that things happen. So, if you go on the Ability Maine website and scroll back to our history, we actually have the very first documentation and writing about the very first marijuana recall on some moldy marijuana that was sold by Willow's Connection in Maine, which no longer even exists. They've changed their name. they're no longer a nonprofit. They're no longer, they're now called, I'm not really sure what their name is called, so I'm not going to go there. I would recommend they read, and I know they have nothing to do with medical. They're all dealing with recreational marijuana only, and that most other medical, there's a lot more medical caregivers that can provide medical weed. There is medical dispensaries additionally opening up, but Lois actually Maine is not one of them. If you look though in the Billy Maine history, we have the first photos of the first moldy cannabis that was ever introduced into Maine. And now, 12 years later, we still have people have issues with cannabis and mold, and not so much mold, but testing basically agreeing to the testing regulations of the industry. Hold on for 1 second while I just get a little bit of coffee in me. Okay, so marijuana recalls recently have been primarily in the adult use recreational area, and not the medical market. It's a recreational market. Businesses need separate licenses for cultivation, manufacturing, and retail. Structures poses unique challenges while addressing product safety and testing requirements. Now that's a good point to be brought up. There's growing concern among retailers and customers regarding the reliability, consistency, of testing standards across various labs. Recent retests have failed, raising questions about chain of custody, failure percentages, and potential discrepancies between labs. This is directly from an email sent by NMCM, Medical Marijuana Caregivers Maine. We revamp standardizing testing procedures and establishing uniform thresholds are crucial to ensure consumer safety. That makes sense. We encourage our members to engage with representatives and express their concerns about current testing requirements and restrict to impact of mandatory testing on the medical market. It is vital to strike a balance between safety, affordability, and practicality for cultivators, retailers, and customers alike. By working together, we can create a safer, more transparent campus industry for all stakeholders. We appreciate your continued support and encourage you to stay informed about these important issues. Please reach out to us with the things in the legislation session. Has a lot to address. The legislation session is going to be largely made up of people that are going to be voted on in the next week and a half or 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, so that's important. And again, that everything that NMCM says makes sense. There does need to be safety testing protocols, and those need to be addressed with basically everything we can do that with. You would never think that the R word, which again, it's surprising, but Special Olympics done tremendous work to try and prevent or to try and lobby people from using the R word. It takes a certain presidential candidate to refer to his their opponent as the R word, And that happened this weekend or recently at a private fundraiser, which kind of makes it disgusting, but yeah, it does happen. It's just frustrating because it's not something that should be tolerated, but because, people decide that on his people decide that if you get away with making fun of a disabled journalist in 2016, I guess anything is but possible at that point. So yeah, unfortunately that's what happens. And so unfortunately that's one of the major problems with that. And since I was gone, there was a huge press release from Maine on they released a report on the state of guardianship in Maine. They did this last Wednesday. Alternatives to guardianship and supported decision making, and this is for immediate release. Today, Civil Rights Maine released a report on potentially underrepresented an analysis of adult guardianship in Maine, which provides an overview of Maine's current guardianship system. The report, the first of its kind in Maine, synthesizes 3 years of guardianship data across Maine's independent probate courts. And I don't know who we have on our second person, but thank you for viewing, whoever's there. I do appreciate that. And I'm report. This is literally a document. Just I'm reading a document from Civil Rights Maine. This report, the first of its kind in Maine, synthesizes 3 years of guardianship data across Maine's independent probate courts. The data is not otherwise tracked or analyzed, which for years hindered understanding of the scope and use of guardianship. Civil Rights Maine collected information on over 2,200 cases involving adult guardianship. This report looks at how many cases resulted in the appointment of a guardian, the type of guardianship, the age of the adult, whether the adult had the attorney to advocate for their interests, and represented them in the guardianship proceeding. In 2019, Maine overhauled the probate court code and adopted a model law that imagined the appointment of an attorney in almost every guardianship case. Unfortunately, however, DRM collected data over a 3-year period showed that more than 35% of cases adults for whom guardianship was sought did not have attorneys. When an individual had a mental disability, that number increased to 90%. Civil Rights Maine has been working on guardianship reform for 20 years, although we've had some significant success. This report highlights that we have much more to do. Say Kim Moody, who's the executive director, it is unacceptable 90% of people with labels of intellectual or developmental disabilities who have basically removal of their basic rights are now appointed to a lawyer to represent them. We must fix this. Many people experience guardianship at nearly twice the rate of the national average. Often starting when a young person turned 18, more than 90% of individuals under 21 had no attorney, and more than 90% were subsequently placed under guardianship. No person should have to face a complex legal proceeding without the aid of an attorney, especially when it affects their fundamental right to control their lives. analysis shows that when people had attorneys, with restrictive alternatives to full guardianships were far more likely to be implemented. Maine continues to show an over-reliance on the use of guardianship, despite changes to the law, says legal director Lauren Willie. Maine must do a better job to educate its families and schools that guardianship is not the only option to support these young adults into adulthood. Probate courts must do better ensuring that people are provided the zealous advocacy they are entitled to. Many families may not fully understand the long-term implications of guardianship for their loved one. The attorney can play a crucial role in helping to clarify these complexities and exploring less restrictive environments that prioritize the individual's rights and independence. It's much easier to prevent guardianship in the first place than reverse it, said senior American attorney Stacey Converse. And she's an awesome person. I've dealt with her in the past, and she's really helpful. The updated probate code was necessary to uphold the rights of people with disabilities, but this recent data shows it was not enough job to change that was intended. People facing guardianship proceedings must be appointed lawyers to represent their interests. Courts must consider alternatives to full guardianship. This was Rights Maine is Maine protection and advocacy organization. Our mission is to advance justice and equality by enforcing the rights and expanding the opportunities for people with disabilities in Maine. Okay, this is an interesting article too about let me find it. It's from Reuters. U.S. FDA pauses Novavax's trial on the combo COVID flu shot on safety concerns. Now, this is a combo COVID flu shot that's not available for anyone right now. It was a trial that you had to sign up for it. It wasn't a staging, it's not a public. This COVID flu shot was never available to the public. It was only available as a trial. And the FDA paused that trial. This is important because I read it as Novavax was being paused in the a lot of the headlines that are being put over this are very misleading. So, in order to try and be very focused, we're going to talk about this as much as I can. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has put on hold a trial of Novavax, COVID influenza, and its standalone flu vaccine after a participant who took the combination shot reported nerve damage. The company said on Wednesday, that was last week. It should plunge as much as 24%, and if losses hold, it will wipe out nearly $40 million from the vaccine makers' capitalization. Stock Trip also reflects concerns that would hold the impact Novavax's partnership with French drug maker Sandoz, according to one analyst. However, said participant ruled in a mid-stage study in a combination vaccine trial last month reported symptoms of motor neuropathy see or demonstrate nerve cells that control muscles and movement. The person was given the vaccine in January of last year, so we're talking about a year and a half ago. The company said it was not yet established that the vaccine caused a safety event. It was working with the FDA to resolve the pause. Our goal is to successfully resolve the matter and to start our phase 3 trial as soon as possible, Chief Medical Officer Robert Walker said. At least 2 analysts say it was too early to draw a conclusion. Jeffries analyst Roger Sang said moderate neuropathy was not a side effect seen in older trials of the Novavax shots. Still, the pause fueled investor worries over the company's woes as its COVID-19 shot. Novavax's only approved product faces a low demand after a late entry into the U.S. market. The company in Maine had signed a deal worth at least $1.2 billion with Santori to co-sell Novavax's vaccine in most countries and use the COVID shot along with it to its own flu vaccine to develop a combination shot. Santori said that its critical role has nothing to do with its partnership with Novavax. Outside the agreement, the company can individually develop their own flu COVID vaccines and other products in an emailed statement. Fundamentally, it doesn't seem to have impact on Novavax's partnership with Santok TD Cowen, by the Smith analyst with TD Cowen said. Investors will closely monitor what additional data the FDA asked for, he said. And that's basically the information. So again, it has nothing to do with the actual Novavax vaccine that's being available right now. And tomorrow will be the anniversary of the mass shooting. We will have we're planning to have a small story time. And if everything goes well. But for now, I hope you had a great afternoon, and I will talk with you tomorrow, hopefully, and hope you have a great day.